Hello again. Here we are, part 2 of the COVID isolation project, and the response has been absolutely fantastic. So we've got 36 odd tiles that everybody's produced, and they are in here at the moment. They have just been fired up to 1,200 degrees. They're on their way down now. We're down to 75, as you can see on the reader, and they'll be ready to come out tomorrow. Now, when they come out, I am going to paint them all in acrylic as an undercoat base so that they'll be ready for collection over the weekend or early next week from ART's shop, and you can paint them. Now, a few words about the painting. I've painted them, they'll be undercoated in white acrylic. Okay, so that's a water-based paint, which we've used because you can paint almost anything onto it. Now, my recommendation, I've got a tile here which Mark has lent me, we've done one earlier. My recommendation is that you use water-based paints for this. Okay, so that is anything basically water-based. So then if you want to come over here, we've got a variety here of, obviously we've got artist acrylic, water-based acrylic such as these. They're £1 each, I think, from Home Bargains. Or even washable kids paints like these, which you might have at home, or even watercolour paints would even do the job. And the only thing I would say about when you're painting with, when you're using these, is you'll probably need more than one layer of paint. You'll notice that as you paint it, the plate is the tiles are very absorbable. So if you want a nice finish, you're going to need to put 2 or 3 layers of onto your surface. Don't put it on too thickly because you don't want to obscure any details that you're doing. If you have a piece like this, for instance, which has got some grooves in it, which are carved in, which are difficult to paint, one thing you could do is water down a colour, a darkish colour, and paint the whole thing so that the ink or the paint that you're using sinks into the grooves. Then clear the surface off, wash the surface off with a damp cloth, and then paint over the top of it. So that's an easier way of actually painting into the cracks than it is getting a paintbrush and trying to push them in. So I'll just go through that one more time. So take a dark colour, water it down, cover the whole of your design with that colour, and then with a damp cloth wipe off the surface so that the ink or the paint that you're using sinks into the holes, and that'll give you a nicer finish than if you try and paint it with a paintbrush. So you need several coats, and you can use any combination of things. Now, because of the nature of the undercoat, you can also use felt pens. So you could put some detail over your picture, and I'll do this on the back because this is marked, so I don't want to spoil it, but you could even use felt pen, which will mark these tiles equally well. So if, for instance, you've got a very fine pen and you wanted to do some detail, you could put a mark like that over your work. Again, you can use any colour felt pen to do that. Will also have the desired effect. That really is about it. The colour scheme is completely up to you. My recommendation would be to keep it fairly simple and colourful. All the work is going to be put together, so if it is bright, it will stand out, which will look great. But that, I think, is roughly everything I've got to say. After the tiles are painted, if you return them to ART's shop, I will once again collect them and then we'll finish them off. They do not need varnishing or putting any surface over the top once you painted them. We'll do that when we decide how we're actually going to put these things together as a completed piece of sculpture. Ben, is there anything I've missed?
So it doesn't matter what type of paint, in a sense. So watercolours are fine because in the end they will be coated and they will be waterproofed at the end.
Yes, don't worry about that. You could, if you've got oil paint or if you've got a gloss base paint, you could use those. It'll just take a long time to dry. So it's and also the paint will not be absorbed into the tile. So that's the reason that I'm suggesting you use water-based paint. Okay. I don't know, above that, I can't think of anything else, Ben. If you've got any other...
I think that's great. It sounds great, Simon.
Okay, well, thanks ever so much, everybody, for your hard work. I know lots of people have been getting in touch with Ben and asking when they can get on with the painting. So that will be next week, and we wait to see what the results are. So thanks very much for listening, and speak to you again soon.
Thank you, Simon.